This video is sponsored by Box, the online technology store. Visit box.co.uk for the best deals on TVs, soundbars, and all your other technology needs.
Hello everyone, my name is Vincent Teo, and this is the Samsung Q950T, which is the company's flagship soundbar with 9.1.4 surround sound configuration, supporting both Dolby Atmos and DTS-X audio formats. At the time we filmed this video in December 2020, the Samsung Q950T commanded a street price of around £1,300, but in the box you will find a main soundbar unit, a subwoofer, and two rear speakers to deliver a more enveloping surround sound experience than most soundbars. The soundbar is dressed in acoustically transparent quadrat fabric, which unfortunately attracts dust like Boxing Day shoppers to the nearest next door at 6 in the morning. The soundbar unit measured 1.23 meters in length. Initially, we thought that it is too big for a 55-inch television, but after pairing it with a few 55 inches we've had in our test room, it actually looked okay, although we still think it is more proportionate for a 65-inch screen or larger. The height comes in at a fairly manageable 70 centimeters, which will of course slot comfortably in between the recessed stand on Samsung's high-end 2020 QLED televisions, such as the Q950T or Q950T. There are three front-firing drivers, left, center, right. Two up-firing drivers which will bounce sound off the ceiling for overhead effects. Two side-firing drivers at both ends of the soundbar, and new for 2020, the front corners have been cut diagonally to house the left and right surround drivers, which widen the soundstage and provide greater audio immersion. For reasons known only to Samsung themselves, the LED information display is placed on top of the soundbar, so unless you're Gandalf sitting in Bilbo Baggins' house, you will have to stand up and walk closer to the soundbar to see the input source and audio format information. There's another front-facing LED panel, but this only displays any volume changes and voice control status in a 3-dot format. The connections are found in a recessed compartment at the back of the soundbar, including two HDMI inputs, one HDMI output with eARC or enhanced ARC support for compatible televisions, as well as an optical digital audio input. Even though only HDR10 Plus is listed on Samsung's spec sheet, the Q950T can pass through regular HDR10 and even Dolby Vision signal. At the bottom of the soundbar, there is a USB service port for updating the firmware, and two buttons for establishing wireless connections with your home Wi-Fi network, and the subwoofer and rear speakers. Talking of which, the rear speakers and the subwoofer connect wirelessly via Bluetooth to the soundbar, so you only need to run a power cable to every unit. The rear speakers are each equipped with a front-firing and up-firing drivers for rear and overhead effects, while the subwoofer features an 8-inch side-firing driver and a rear-facing bass port. Setup was a doodle on our review sample. We merely had to place the soundbar, the subwoofer, and the surround speakers into their respective correct positions, power them up, and within seconds, they were automatically connected and communicating with each other, ready to deliver a killer surround sound experience. Of course, for the best audio performance, you should adjust the settings on each channel to provide the correct volume for your listening position. But unfortunately, Samsung did not manage to implement any inbuilt test tone or inbuilt room correction functionality into the Q950T, so you would have to use an audio test disc and an SPL meter to obtain the best results in an objective manner. Also, the volume level on most of the channels can only be adjusted as a pair. For example, you can set the levels of both rear up-firing channels together, but not just the left rear up-firing channel or just the right rear up-firing channel. We did not have a specific problem with this limitation in our use case, but other owners may appreciate being able to adjust each individual channel to compensate for speaker distance or unit-to-unit variation. Installing the Samsung SmartThings app on your phone is necessary to unlock the full potential of the Samsung Q950T, since without the app, you can't even connect the soundbar to your home Wi-Fi network. Please do not judge me listening to Taylor Swift. I am studying her ingenious lyrics to help with my own script writing process. With the app, you can also link to your Alexa or Spotify account, adjust the EQ settings in a more advanced fashion beyond just bass and treble response, as well as add some audio delay up to 300 milliseconds to resolve lip sync issues with your display. It is a slight shame then that the SmartThings app doesn't let you adjust the soundbar channels in pairs, which would have saved us from having to repeatedly stand up from our seat and walk over to the soundbar to look at the LED display. After taking some time to position the speakers and adjust the levels, we sat down and played some of the better Dolby Atmos and DTS:X soundtracks from our movie collection, and were immediately impressed by the sound quality of the Samsung Q950T. Tonal balance was simply outstanding, with a clean and seamless bass integration that added an authoritative undertone to various relevant acoustic elements, yet did not overwhelm or muddy the mid-range even in the slightest bit. In the scene from The Fellowship of the Ring, as Arwen faced off the Nazguls at the river, every sound element, the stamping of the hoofs, the piercing shrieks of the ringwraiths, the splashing of the water, the metallic clink as the swords were drawn, came across so clear and detailed, combining into an orchestra of aural delight. That's oral, not oral, with layer upon layer of intricacies for you to savor. Directionality and steerage was excellent, vividly capturing every twist and turn of the horses during the preceding chase through the forest. The satellite speakers were lively and focused, significantly improving upon the lackluster rear action observed on Samsung's previous multi-channel soundbars. Perhaps helped by the addition of diagonally firing surround drivers from the soundbar unit, soundstage was enormous, judging from the chittering noises of the orcs appearing from everywhere in the mines of Moria to chase after the fleeing fellowship. And when orcs crawled down from the pillars, the overhead effects were evident in full flow, creating as enveloping an Atmos bubble as we've experienced to date. Bass performance was loud and powerful when needed, delivering numerous satisfying thumps in the opening of The Greatest Showman, although as is the case with every all-in-one system we've tested, once in a blue moon we still craved for that little bit extra of low hertz response, for example during the bass drop at the start of the movie. We played some music over Bluetooth and also through Amazon Music on the Samsung Q950T, and it sounded melodic and balanced, with the bass being nimble enough to scratch your bass itch, but not overpower the detailed vocals. Note that even with the latest firmware of 10.17.5 installed at the time we filmed this video in December 2020, the Q950T soundbar still doesn't support multi-channel LPCM, and we're not sure if Samsung intends to fix it in a firmware update or not. So if playing multi-channel LPCM from a PC or console is important to you, you might want to wait for a definitive statement from Samsung before committing. Let's sum up. The Samsung Q950T delivers stunning sound quality. The LG SN11RG we reviewed a few months ago was no slouch, but the Q950T is just better, however slightly, in almost every audio department: tonal balance, dialogue clarity, bass control, soundstage, the all-important Atmos bubble. And as surely as a BMW driver doing 60 in a 30 zone, some of you will comment in the YouTube section below that for the same money, you'd rather go down the AV receiver and separates route, which should deliver superior dynamics and resolution. But soundbars like the Q950T are increasingly popular among consumers for good reasons. Unlike separates, they are really easy to set up, there are no wires everywhere, and they can blend into most living rooms in a less intrusive fashion. Despite some flaws, including the lack of multi-channel LPCM support, the Samsung Q950T is easily the most convincing Atmos soundbar you can buy right now, and so it receives our highly recommended award. If you would like to watch some of our other soundbar reviews, I created a playlist here if you would like to click on it, and I will see you in the next video.